7:04 this evening, and we're going to get going with the one case we have for tonight. It's case number 0520 Wall Street Development Corporation, Dupuy Street. This is for a comprehensive permit under Mass General Laws 40B, Section 20 through 23, and this is for construction of, well, originally it was 12 duplex condominiums in 6 buildings, but the applicant has recently submitted a new plan, and that's what we're going to discuss tonight. The topics for tonight are comments from town departments, and also we're going to see the new plan for this. So, okay. So if we, Mr. Petrozzi, good evening.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. You've submitted a new set of plans, which we've seen. A lot of us have had a chance to review them. Do you want to bring us up to date where you stand on the Dupuy Street development?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So since our last meeting, and I apologize for not having gotten the plan changes to you sooner, we've engaged in several conversations with some of the neighbors. We've reviewed the comments from the board's peer review consultants. And after evaluating all the comments and all of the concerns that have been brought up, we made a decision to proceed with a smaller project, more consistent with the existing neighborhood being single-family development. And as a result of those changes, it took us a little bit more time to incorporate all of those changes into the plan. And so we submitted the plan yesterday, and I guess tonight we would like to review the plan in light of the comments and still address the comments that were made by the peer reviewers relative to traffic and site development, because they are still germane to the project. And I think we've addressed all of those comments in the new plans, as well as made the change to reduce the amount of units and the concept of the development from a multi-family sort of development to maintain a single-family character to the development. So with that, I'll turn it over to Rob Truax, and he can review the changes relative to the plan and address the comments that were previously outlined by the peer reviewers, and hopefully we can address all those comments. And then we also have Bill Scully to review traffic questions that were raised by the peer reviewers as well.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Petrozzi. And I think this is a step in the right direction, so that looks good. And if your team wants to start presenting the changes that have been made, that would be great.
I'll go through the changes, Mr. Chairman. Rob Truax of GLM Engineering Consultants. So I'm going to share my screen so everyone can see it. Okay, so this is a color up I put up here on the screen for everyone to see, and I'm going to go through the major changes basically, and then I'm not going to go through comment by comment on the peer review. I'll let the peer reviewer obviously do his review, and he's going to need time to do that. I know he's not going to have anything tonight, and I know you folks aren't going to have anything, but you may have some questions on the new layout. So what we're proposing now is we've reduced the size of the project from 12 duplex style units to 8 units in their single family home styles. So each unit now would have a 2-car garage and 2 parking spaces outside the garage for a total of 4 parking spaces per unit. And if you look at the plan, you can see that the project, putting in the 8 units, we also were able to pull the last unit, which is unit 8, away from the rear property line towards Summit Ave somewhat to give us a little buffering down there, and that's where the water line connection takes place. And the purpose of that was to try and reduce, not try, but we did reduce the runoff going in that direction so that now there is no increase in water heading off the site towards the Summit Ave property owners and the town of Walpole property and down in that area. The other change, if you look at the turnaround easement now that we've done, we've made some modifications to that. We opened it up. It has 30-foot roundings. We've made it deeper, going almost to the back of the units, maybe about 10, 15 feet from the back of the unit. And what we're doing is we're providing 3 visitor parking spaces at the rear of that turnaround. The reason to push it out was to allow if there was a car parked there, we can still provide fire apparatus to do a turn in that area, which I'll actually bring that up on another screen and show you in a minute. The other thing I did was, you know, the way the road slopes is primarily everything slopes from the high point of the site, which is about where the turnaround is, and down towards Doopy Street. Currently, it does that in the existing conditions with the topography, and then with the proposed condition, the roadway is doing pretty much the same. We did add some catch basins to the end of the roadway after Unit 8, and that was to pull the water down into the drainage basin, not to allow any sheet flow off into the direction of Summit Ave. The other thing we did was we extended the swale behind the units along the property lines for Victoria Circle. So we extended that up all the way to Unit 8. I tried to show, and it's hard to see, but I did build this up a little bit along the property line, like about a 2-foot berm. The neighbors were trying to get us to put a landscape berm in. The amount of room we have there, we can build it up a couple feet, and then we're going to do planting on top of that for the screening that we're going to provide for the neighbors. The other changes are all technical to respond to the comments. I'm not going to go through those step by step. I just want to go through the overall changes. The other change that we've made that I think is important, I'm going to pull up the landscape plan. Did that change for you folks? Everyone get a change of screen on that?
Yes, thank you.
So this is the landscape buffering that we talked to the neighbors about providing along the swale. So what we're putting in is they're called green giant arborvitaes. They grow very narrow, but they grow about 2 feet a year in height. So we space those about 6 to 8 feet of spacing. And I don't know the exact number. I didn't actually count them, but they run from Unit 8 all the way down to Unit 1. So we're planting rather than putting up a fence, we're going to give them a arborvitae screening all the way along that property line. The thing I wanted to point out, if you look down in the bottom left corner of the screen, you'll see I have the truck turning radiuses on the plan for the turnaround. So you can see that a fire truck can come into the site, make the turn in, and then they can back up and leave the site with ease. That turnaround is actually 3 spaces wide, which is 27 feet. So the pavement's wider than your normal road. So a normal road would be anywhere from 20 to 24 feet. But to accommodate 3 9-foot wide spaces, we're going to provide pavement in there of 27 feet. So that actually opens up the turnaround as well, making it a lot easier for vehicles to turn around in that area. So you can see I put a little plan on there demonstrating the truck turn radius coming in and out of the hammerhead turnaround. So I think with that, those are the major changes to the plan. Everything else was really just technical things that we went through all the comments to address. And I know Bill Scully addressed a lot of the traffic comments as well. If you'd like to hear what some of his changes were and what he's done, we can go through that as well, or we can stop right here and take questions on this layout and go from there.
If it's okay with the rest of the board, I'd like to go to Mr. Scully so we can get everybody from the developers team to give their comments, and then if we all take notes, then we can go back and address the issues, if that's okay with everybody. Okay, Mr. Scully, do you want to go next?
Okay, can you hear me? All right, so we reviewed the comments from the peer review, and I'd say in general, in relation to traffic it was relatively minor. They concurred with most of the findings. They did request us to collect some speed data out on High Plains Street and to verify the site distances, which we did. We've included that data in the package that was transmitted to you all. And I would say in general, it confirmed the site distances the analysis that we did previously when the project was first submitted showed that we had 350 to 400 feet to and from the east to and from the west, and about 800 feet plus to and from the east. So in terms of speeds, that would satisfy criteria for more than 45 miles an hour to and from the west, and certainly more than that to and from the east. What the data showed was average speed was about 35 miles an hour. It's posted 35 miles an hour out there. About 85, the 85th percentile speed was around 39 miles an hour. We developed sightline triangles for 40 miles an hour, which we also attached to our response. And I'm not sure if Rob added it to the latest set of plans, but at some point they can be added to the approved site plan, so that it's there on the record during construction. You know what needs to be done, and that was probably the biggest thing that Tetra Tech had requested, was to update the sightline triangles for the speeds 85th percentile. So we've done that.
Sorry,
yeah.
Can I interrupt you? I'm so sorry. I just noticed one of the board members is connecting to audio, so I just want to make sure we have him and didn't lose him. Does anyone have Bob's number?
Yeah, I talked to Bob earlier, so he's connecting in. He's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it says connecting to audio on my screen. But...
Yeah, it's just that he's not connected, so I don't know if he can hear us.
Yeah, I already
Sorry,
talked to him.
Derail your presentation, but
So
town
the
council
only thing,
pretty strict orders on pausing if we lose somebody. So
should I go on or just wait, Ashley?
No, Bill, I already talked to Bob, so he's fine. And
Okay, I'll just wrap up.
okay,
So in terms of the site distances and speeds, they apply for this proposed change as well as the previous plan. So the actual internal plan isn't going to change anything that we've provided and completed. So we should be good on that. And we didn't do any additional trip comparison for the 8 single-family homes versus the 12. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit less traffic generated by the new project. And with that, I think I'm done. Oh no, let me just add. And again, it's not in my response because it really. Let's see. Oh yeah, so there was a comment in terms of the fire apparatus turnaround on the old plan. We tested that previously. We submitted plans to the town showing that it was workable. And as you just heard from Rob, he widened out the radiuses, added some depth to it, so it becomes even easier. It's certainly a workable design to accommodate reversing the fire truck apparatus and to get out of the development. Now I'm done.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Scully. Okay, who's next, Mr. Petrosi?
That's it.
Okay, so board members, do you have any questions or comments for the applicant? Okay, Suzanne, I see you have your hand up. Please take yourself off mute.
It's for Rob. Rob, the flow into Victoria, you feel the swale is sufficient? Because it does slope down.
Yes, I do. I'm going to pull my screen back up. If you, if I can share it. I do,
Thanks.
because it goes from, it's about
Isn't it like a 4-foot drop or so?
to the people on Victoria. It's
To the
relatively
yards,
flat.
yeah.
It's relatively flat through here. This is the high point right in the middle. So
But I
this
mean-
goes up. The swale right here is like almost 2 feet. I have about a 2-foot depth in the swale.
Okay.
So it's not going to carry 2 feet of water. It's 3.5 feet wide. So it would take a lot of
Trees will
water.
help absorb.
And it will. And some of the water going down the swale, I mean, we're not taking any credit for anything infiltrating. As a matter of fact, during the initial submittal, when I sat with Carl, the town engineer, he made a comment about making this swale crushed stone. A crushed stone, 3 feet wide, maybe a foot of crushed stone. I didn't want to do that just because of, I think it's a good idea, but when you do the calculations and you put the stone in, I would have to provide a calculation that shows it as a recharge trench, and I can't show it 2 feet above groundwater to the bottom of the stone. So I think it's a great idea. I think it would have some benefit down the road, just to crush stone it. It's easy to maintain. You just pull the weeds out. Or you keep it grass, and the grass is going to do the same thing. It's really a flat swale. So it's less than 1% of pitch through that swale. So it's relatively, it's really flat. So it's going to travel at a slow pace through there. So it will have some time to, go into the soils when, we're not taking credit for that in any of the calculations. So that's just Mother Nature that we don't take credit for.
Okay. And where is snow removal going to happen now?
So we can push it. I showed right off the end of the parking spaces. This is ideally the best place because then when it would melt, it would go down in the swale.
So you'll have the
obviously-
cars, you'll have a program with the HOA that no cars during snow or something will happen like that?
we could put that in the homeowners agreement that during snow removal, snowstorms, it's like you do in the town, no parking on the streets.
Yeah, right. So we can
So the
do that
same
kind
thing.
of condition would work.
Right.
Okay.
So, and
Good,
then we
I'm
have a
happy to
little
see
off
the
the end
parking.
because obviously they're gonna push to the end. But ideally, the best place to put it is between units 6 and 7. It'll melt in the grass right there and it'll flow down the swale
Yeah.
and get a lot of treatment.
Yeah, I don't think you want to use the end because that's where it really flows right down into Summit.
Yeah, we do have catch basins at the end, but the
Oh,
problem
that's right.
is,
You said you put one in. I forgot. Yep.
yeah, we put a couple catch basins there,
Yep.
so. I mean, they're gonna push some snow there. They're gonna drive, they
That's
can't pull it.
natural.
Yeah, it's natural.
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna plow
Right.
the road, it's gonna go to the edges, they'll shovel the driveways to the sides.
Yep.
And then ideally, the turnaround is the most pavement. It's wider than the rest of the road. And
Yeah.
it's deeper because of the visitor parking.
Yep.
So that's where the most snow is gonna accumulate, is in that intersection and on that turnaround.
Yeah. And the fire chief hasn't seen the turnaround thing yet, right? This just came yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, this just came yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
I would think
Okay.
nobody's commented on it.
Now, this is an improvement.
So.
And then that's it. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, any other board members before I have my comments? Drew, yeah, go ahead, Drew.
Rob, the page 13 is great with the construction sequence plan. How soon would that swale be implemented into the construction phase once the land is cleared on the Victoria Circle side of the property?
I'm sorry, Drew. I'm having a hard time hearing you.
My apologies. The swale that you're talking about on the facing towards the
Yeah.
in the construction sequence plan, how soon would that be implemented or built out once the land is actually cleared?
So that should be implemented in the grubbing and clearing in the initial stages when they do temporary runoff. So what we have is around Unit 1, we're showing on the erosion control plan a temporary basin. So they would build a swale up along the road, the proposed road, and a swale up along the property line. Those would be temporary swales.
Mm-hmm.
So, because if they built that early on and grassed it, it will just get clogged up with silt. So they'd have to but there would be temporary swales.
Mhm.
And there would, and I do have erosion control around that side also.
Right.
If you look at the erosion, the erosion control plan, I have it all the way down that side property line. I have the sock with the silt fence.
Yeah, the swaddle.
Silt fence. I can't recall, but we have erosion control almost around the entire site.
I think you definitely paid a lot of attention to what the neighbors said and comments from the board or other boards in the town. My next question was for Mr. Scully. Regarding the precision data information that was submitted to the board, is there any way you can walk us through? Because when I looked at the percentile of the speed limits, it looked like the majority was 35 plus miles an hour. So 35 to 39. And I'm just curious, you said everyone, or the majority seemed abiding to the posted speed limit. And I'm not a professional, so maybe you could just walk us through that information that was collected.
Sure. So I think what I said was speeds were averaging around 35 miles an hour, and that the 85th percentile was around 39 miles an hour, which essentially 39, let's see, make sure I'm reading it right, 39 to 40 miles an hour, depending on the day. So, I mean, we're in that range. 39 to 40 is the 85th percentile, which means 85% of the traffic is going at that speed or lower. So in terms of general compliance with the 35 mile per hour posted speed, it's not perfect, but it's really not too bad when you've got the 10 mile per hour pace is 31 to 40 miles an hour and the posted speed's 35. In terms of the sightline triangles, we set them at 40 miles an hour. So within that triangle, that's what we're saying is within the sightline triangle, then you want to make sure it's kept clear for visibility. You don't want to put up any new plantings or, something that would obstruct. But, and again, I think I said it in my letter, which you probably haven't had a chance to really read, but on that side of the street, you've got a sidewalk, which is separated from the pavement, probably by about 4 feet or so, and a little bit of a shoulder out there. So you've got, and actually, and some of the trees that do exist in the area are set further back, and their apron is pretty high. So you really don't have any obstructions, but what is tending to become common practice in Walpole and other towns is to put the sightline triangle plan together just so that going forward, you just know within these areas, you just don't want to put any new obstructions that block someone's, the driver visibility or oncoming vehicle. Can't see a car. But when we were out there actually doing the analysis, we had, coming from the west, you had about 400 feet of sight distance, which is, it equates to somewhere around 47, 48 miles an hour. Coming from the east, you had over 800 feet. So, and you got the two signals on both sides of Dupy Street, basically, that also regulate, not that they're designed to regulate speed, but they tend to, because you got, especially the one at Washington Street, it's changing green, red pretty regularly out there. So you tend to have, traffic at somewhat moderate speeds, So anyways, did that answer your question?
Yeah, it did. Thank you very much for the clarification. That's all I had, Chairman John.
Anybody else? Okay.
I have a question, just a quickie, John.
Sure,
Is
go ahead.
mail going to be individual, or is there going to be a cluster mail thing?
I would say it's going to be individual.
Okay. So
Individual
Amazon
mailboxes,
trucks. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not, Suzanne, I'm not quite sure whether or not we'll have individual, I don't know if the location of sort of mailboxes on the edge of the roadway like they have in many subdivisions, but that will still.
I didn't know if put it in that area where the parking spaces are, and that way the Amazon truck could kind of just put itself there, you know, because the road's not that wide.
Yeah, I'm open to that. We just haven't gotten that. Thank you.
I'm sorry, John. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Suzanne. A lot of these questions are going to be for Rob, I think, Rob Truax. Height of the buildings. I know this is a change. What are the new heights of the buildings? Do you know?
They're the same as the others. However, they're 2 stories with a, you know, pretty much a walk. So they'd be 3 stories in the back, 2 stories in the front. So that hasn't really changed much, John. I don't think we've provided new architecturals. Am I correct, Lou?
No, we haven't gotten that far yet.
So, but they work the same way as the old ones, where you walk in the front, it's like a split level. So you walk in on the lower level, go up the stairs to the first floor. That way we could keep the first floor up and the basements out of the ground because of the groundwater elevations on the site.
Either way, Mr. Chairman, they're going to comply with the town's height regulations for buildings. Whatever that regulation is, we're complying with it.
I think it has to be 35 feet or less.
35.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, you'll see where I'm going with this. Number of bedrooms in these units. How are they different from the previous plans?
Same type of breakdown, 2 or 3 bedrooms. They may be a little bit bigger bedrooms, or they may be repositioned differently, but we haven't really gotten into the actual design of the units yet. One thing that I will say is that, you know, our philosophy is when we're building single-family homes, is to make each home a little bit more individual than the other. So there'll be different designs and architectural elements that would be different from each house. That would be our goal, not to make them all cookie cutter type, one color, one design. They'll be all individual.
Okay. So those are more details that we'll be receiving then. How about the setback from the lot line for Victoria Circle? Where are we at now as far as the setbacks on that?
That's the same, Mr. Chairman, 30 feet.
Okay. And does that include the decks on those units? Because I saw that the decks stick out. Is that part of the 30 feet, or is it to the structure?
No, it's from the house. The main house would be 30 feet. The decks would encroach into the 30-foot setback.
Okay. Okay. Can you pull up the plan again? There's a green strip on the side of Doopy Street going towards Sybil, which I don't think that was there last time. I think the roadway went right up to the property line. So
this little strip going right here?
Yep.
No, that's always been like that. I probably just didn't have it colored.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I think my coloring was just better this time.
Okay, maybe that's what it is. So
I didn't move the road. It hasn't changed.
So, and here's where the road, you're using the existing Doopy Street that's been there for close to 100 years. Is that correct?
Correct.
So the abutters on Sybil Street, they will have direct access to Doopy Street.
Technically, I guess, yeah, they have frontage on Doopy Street now.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. I just wanted to, make sure that we're clear on that. We talked about the landscape plan. I did see the landscape plan. Are you going to have more details on the landscape plan, or is this is pretty much it?
We showed a little detail of the planting around the front of the building, and then the street trees in between each driveway. I mean, if you would like something additional to, just ask us and we can take a look at that.
I think the one I'm most interested in is the buffer to the people again on Victoria Circle, and you said those are going to be green giant arborvitae, and are they like 6 feet on center, 10 feet on center? Did you go into that kind of detail?
Yes, I did. It's right there. See it?
No,
so there's 4 to 5 feet in height at planting, and there's 6 feet spacing.
Right. Okay, that's very, very good. How about the depth of the retention basin, or the storm drainage basin? What are we talking for a depth of that?
It goes from about 301 to 304. The top of the berm is 304.8.
Okay.
The water is of it. The 100-year flood is 1 foot below the top of the berm.
Okay.
So it would be 303.8 would be the 100-year flood depth.
So we're talking it'll be about,
3
about
feet.
4 feet. What's that?
Max 4 feet. Yeah.
Yeah,
If it
max,
was, yeah.
Okay. And so as far as phasing of this is a really small piece of property, just over 1 acre. And how are you going to stage, stage construction projects, and is that included in your plan?
Can you? I don't have the sheet up, but do you have the sheet plan set in front of you? Everyone have a copy?
No.
I'm gonna try and pull mine up. I had put on the erosion control plan some phasing, some sequencing of what we talked about, Lou and I, and this can be fine-tuned, especially with the town engineer. I think would need to have some input on this. But the thought process was, I don't have the erosion plan up on my screen. I'm gonna see if I can find it. So the thought process was, where the existing shed is to be raised at the end of Doopy Street, so about station 3+25. The thought process was to go in and clear the site, put your erosion control barriers in, and then bring the utilities, that's water, sewer, the drain, all the way up at least into the site where the existing shed is to be raised, about 3+25. Those people on house number 6 and house number 3, they need new water services on the new mains. So the main would have to be brought in far enough and tested to get those people online early on in the project. And then the idea would be to put the binder course down up to a minimum of 3+25. And then once you get all that done, then we would go in and do the project itself. So we were showing units 7 and 8 as a stockpile area with hay bales around it. Those would be the last 2 units built. And unit 1 is going to be a temporary drainage basin while they're building the road and grading the site. So units 1, 7, and 8 would be the last 3 units built. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 would be the first units. And I think it probably needs to be a little more input from the town engineer on the first phase of constructing this. I do think we need to build Doopy Street at a minimum with pavement up into the site where we're doing house construction, and get that done pretty early on in the project, for several reasons. One, there's trucks going in and out, and they're just going to be running over a gravel road in front of people's houses. If you look at the erosion control plan, we put a tracking mat right around 3+25 going into the site. So the idea would be you get it bindered up to 325, put your tracking mat in, and then you can go in and do the construction on the rest of the road and build the units. So I think that probably needs to be, looked at by the town engineer, number one. I think he should have input. Maybe the town, the consultant can have input as well when he's reviewing the plan. He's going to obviously look at it. And then anybody else who wants to have input. But that's really the gist of it, is to get into the site and get that stabilized with binder course.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. And my final question for you, Mr. Truax, distance between the buildings.
11 feet.
Okay. Okay, that's all I
Found
have
my plan.
on that. So, other board members, any other questions, comments? We have town council with us. George, how are you this evening?
I'm very good, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Good. Do you have anything for us or any comments that we should be looking at this point?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So the next thing is for peer review on this for the changes that have been submitted. And again, I think it's really positive that we've a lot of the issues have been addressed. And Mr. Petrosi, where are you? How do you feel about the peer review for this next phase?
Well, other than the number of buildings that have changed to single families, I mean, I think the comments have all been addressed in the Rob's letter, and so I really look at this as sort of a checklist that the peer reviewer can just go down his list and just say, did we comply, or does he need more information? So he has to take a look at it, obviously.
So what I would like to do is send this out to Tetra Tech, ask them, recognizing that a lot of these things have already been addressed, and what is the wrap-up peer review for this? That's the way I'd look at it on this.
You mean I'd still owe money?
Well, I don't know if we still have money on the account for the peer review. Actually, do you know where we stand?
I would hope so.
Okay. So, but either way, we're gonna have to just have, because the plan has changed. I mean, it's change. It's a great change, but it's still we want to make sure that we're not missing anything, and things are done correctly. We're still going to have things. You're going to get us architecturals as far as the number of bedrooms, the sizes, and all that on this. So we've still got that. But
Mr. Chairman, can I just say something about the architecturals? Because when we build a single family subdivision, we sort of like a blanket of what our housing units are going to look like. We pick them out, we customize them, we offer them, people come in and they want something custom done, custom built. So I'm hoping that the board will give us a little flexibility on the design and the architectural styles of each of the houses. Certainly we can give you footprints. For example, on these houses that, we provided a box that's 32 by 45. Some of these houses may end up being 28 by 38 or something, depending on the potential buyer. So all I'd like to ask is that the board give us a little flexibility and not sort of put these architecturals in concrete, so to speak, to force us to build a certain product when in fact it may require something else depending on the market.
Well, as you know, a lot of these will depend on, because it is a 40B, they all have to be similar in style. We can't have some that, the affordable units can't be.
Oh yeah, no, in terms of that, we're certainly going to make that, meet that requirement. I'm just talking about in terms of, one house may have a brick front, one house may have a stone front, and one may shingles, so it's just like we'd like a little flexibility, that's all.
Yeah, that's fine. I think really what we're looking at is what I'm looking at is number of bedrooms. What is the style of what is the style of the houses? Not nailing anybody down to the exact square footage and the paint color. That's not what a zoning board's interested. But we are interested in knowing what these are going to look like in the neighborhood.
They're going to look nice.
Okay. So, anybody anything else? We do have a number of people from the neighbors here. I think it would be appropriate to, Amy, can you let them in if they have some questions or comments on the,
Yep.
on
So
the revised plans?
we have one hand raised right now. It's Katie and Chip Ivy, so I'm gonna allow them to talk.
Okay, great.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Hi, this is Katie and Chip. I just had one question. With reference to the town land that abuts house number 8, will there be any trees taken down or construction work on that town land at all because of the project?
No.
We're not anticipating it. I mean, there is a water easement there that we'll be connecting into, but I think that's gonna be completely on our property. So at this point, we're not contemplating any activity on the town property.
Great, so that will still remain a good buffer between the two and soak up some of the drainage that comes down that path?
It's gonna remain the way it is.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, but actually now I need to get something clarified. You said that, Mr. Petrosi, you said that the easement for the water is gonna come through there, so it's gonna come in from Summit Ave. Is that correct?
No, that's not correct. There is an existing easement right now that comes with a water line already installed that comes from Victoria Circle, that is shown at the end. It's on the property line of Victoria, the last lot on Victoria Circle, and along the property line of Kasha property. So it is between, it is on our property, and it does not connect to the Summit Ave property. It's Summit Ave, you know, from what we've discovered, we've had a couple of conversations with DPW and the town engineer. The Summit Ave water pressure and problem that they're having is in a completely different zone than the Doopy Street Victoria Circle zone. But we won't be incurring any activity on the town of Walpole property.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. I get it. Okay.
It's already there, in other words, Mr. Chairman.
Yep, and
It's already in the ground. We're just connecting to it.
on your own property.
Correct.
Okay, good. Okay, are there any other people with questions or comments? Ashley?
Looks like Janice Sellett is on with a raised hand, so I'm gonna allow her to talk. Whenever you're ready, Janice.
Okay, am I unmuted?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to say, first of all, what Mr. Petrosi said about the water easement, that was given to the town of Walpole by Ernestine Sigmund from number 3 Doopy Street. So that was originally part of her property, but she gave it to the town when they were building Victoria Circle. Number 2, I want to say the applicant had never contacted me. I don't know what neighbors he came to speak with, but he's never spoken to me. And as far as the traffic goes, I still, and you're very wrong about it. I saw on Tuesday, November 17th at 1:10 in the afternoon, there was someone here that put one of those monitors around the utility pole, and it was taken down the next morning by around 6:30. And the traffic, I don't care what they say, zooms down here 40, 50 miles an hour. The only time it doesn't is when it stops in between the traffic lights during rush hour. Other than that, it's like a freeway. So, you know, I just will keep saying that because you have to live here to see it. And that's what the reality is. And it's certainly not going to get any better, especially as COVID, we will get the vaccine and everyone hopefully gets back to normal. It's going to be like that. While I'm pleased to see the number of units reduced and more of into a single family, that's still too many. That's like 5 houses away from half of what's on Victoria Circle. That's a lot. The turnaround doesn't sound to me like the turnaround I originally thought that was being or trying to accomplish for the emergency vehicles. But there are always Amazon trucks and UPS and whatnot. Some of them park out on High Plain Street. Some of them just pull up the street and make their deliveries and turn around. So yeah, it still is. They seem to be increasing no matter what. I think that's also, again, the way of life. But I am concerned about still the number of units, even though they've been decreased, which I truly appreciate the thought and effort that's gone into that. Then you've increased the size of the bedrooms, so that means that more people can live there, more cars. So it's still kind of, is weighing it a little bit. I haven't, I only just found out about this tonight, Mr. Petrozzi, so I haven't seen your plans to be able to digest everything. And I don't think other neighbors have as well. But it still would seem to me that you've allowed or are proposing to allow 3 parking spaces for visitors for 8 homes. That doesn't seem realistic to me. And I would think that maybe if you took away 2 to 3 of the units and put in a parking area and a green space, so you can laugh, but you know what? If you want to go live there, why don't you just sell your house and go live there and see how happy you are being crowded in? It's a little over an acre of land, be realistic about it. So, but that's how I see things. And, I've been living here enough years to know what things are like and how things change. And when they put more traffic lights in, how things have changed. And nothing has lessened. It just keeps getting more congested. So, anyway, and and then on Sybil Street, I'd like to know, how does Sybil Street connect over to Dupy? Because I've been here decades and I've never seen anyone be able to come over through Sybil into Dupy. So I don't know if anyone can answer that.
There is a paper street that hasn't been constructed.
Oh, change.
That could be constructed if somebody wanted to spend the funds to do it.
Change Street had at one point their son is grown now, but he was a handicapped person, and they always opposed it. So I didn't know but no one ever drives through there. They don't go on.
It hasn't been constructed on the ground all the way through, but it does have, people do have rights to do that. The Nelsons have rights to do that, and
have they ever? Because I've never known of anyone to cut through, which then makes it even worse because then more people are going to be cutting through. So that doesn't make me feel any better.
We're not proposing to construct it. Now, you asked a question. It is possible for someone to exercise their rights on that private way and construct it, but we're not proposing to construct it as part of this project.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time I've ever heard anyone saying that Sybil Street next into Dupy. Because I mean, I know Change Street, I know the people who live there, and they always objected to everything because of their son lived with them. Yeah. So okay, so that sounds pretty minor there.
So Janice, we're not changing anything with this. I just made the observation that if this is the way things are laid out, people that do live on Sybil Street will have direct access. They will be direct abutters to Dupy Street, and it's always been like that. And I was just making sure that green strip didn't change anything.
Okay, I appreciate that. I can't imagine anyone wanting to try to cut through here.
Nothing surprises me anymore.
This is true. All right, thank you. So as I said, I still haven't really, absorbed all of what the plan is, but that was my quick observation from tonight.
Yep, and we just received these plans yesterday. They've been posted, so I hope all the neighbors and anybody interested takes a closer look at these plans.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Amy, anybody else?
Yes, so it looks like Julie Sullivan wants to speak, so I'm going to allow her to talk. Hey, Julie, you can unmute yourself.
Hi, yep. Hi, everyone. Julie Sullivan from 24 Victoria Circle. My first comment would just be that the trees are a little bit small. I mean, 4 to 5 foot trees, they're small, they're narrow. It's going to take us about 4 years to have any sort of privacy The units are also taller than ours. So, I'd like to see some taller trees planted. The other question that I would have is, so if it's connecting to the Victoria Circle water line, how that impacts the water pressure for those of us on Victoria Circle. I did speak with Public Works, and they said that they do not know the answer to that at this point. So I'd like that to be something that's looked into, especially knowing that Summit has issues already. And the last comment that I would have is, so that swale, it looks like it doesn't quite go as far as Unit 8. So something I'd want the peer reviewer to look at is just to make sure that water is going to indeed flow into that swale and not into my property. That's all. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I have a question for Mr. Petrozzi. Actually, Drew Delaney, can you mute yourself? We're getting, can you mute? Mr. Petrozzi, is this going to be looped as far as the water system, or is it just coming in from one point?
No. It's going to be looped from the beginning of Dupy Street to the Victoria Lane water line. That's primarily what the Water and Sewer Department wants to have done. And it generally improves the circulation and water quality when a line is looped like that. And I think the town has a practice of trying to accommodate a looping of the water main whenever possible.
Yep.
And we got, again, as I mentioned before, the Summit Ave water section of the system is completely separate from the Victoria Circle, Dupy Street, High Plains Street water main. It's a completely different subsystem of the whole town of Walpole water system.
Okay, but Julie Sullivan just asked the question, I believe that's who it was, about the water pressure. So in theory, it's going to improve things because now it's going to be looped.
Correct.
So
correct.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else?
H would like to speak, so I'm going to allow him to talk.
Okay.
Hi guys, this is Tyler from 20 Victoria Circle. I would just, I think this is good. It's an improvement, and a lot of stuff that we've brought up have been addressed. I'm certainly happy with the single family as opposed to the duplexes here. Couple of things that I would echo. Yeah, I think the trees, ideally, if on planting, they could be a bit taller. 4 to 5 feet. I've planted a 4 to 5 foot one. My less than 2-year-old daughter can see over it and through it, so it doesn't really provide the privacy that I'm looking for quite yet. So if on planting those could be a bit taller, I think that would actually provide the privacy and for what the tree's purposes are. Also with privacy, I brought up street lighting, so I was wondering about that, especially with that turnaround there. There's 4 houses that are directly behind my house, so privacy is a huge concern to mine. This is definitely going to impact my quality of life with 4 houses now behind mine. So privacy between the houses there and the trees and the lights. And then, yeah, certainly would echo the water. Just want to make sure that our water is not adversely affected when this happens. I'm not an engineer by any definition of the word, so would like to see some on that.
Okay.
I can certainly put it in writing and send it over to you guys as well.
Okay, thank you. It's always best if we get these things in writing. Mr. Petrozzi, do you want to comment on lighting for the site?
Well, we will be providing street lighting. We have, I put in some of my other subdivisions, a very not intrusive type of lighting pole that we've used. I'd be happy to provide some photographs and some detail from our lighting supplier, if the board needs to have some details on that.
Yeah. Definitely.
I think that would be helpful. Drew Delaney, you know this better than anybody here. Thoughts on lighting? What's the standard they use now?
Just trying to promote dark skies. Just want to downlight lighting. I apologize, but the visitor parking spaces, Rob, I'm not familiar with the elevations, but the headlights of a vehicle that's parked in one of those parking spaces and the elevation changes, what would that be to residents on Victoria Circle?
That's a good point.
That's a good point, Drew. I actually thought of that when I was drawing it, and I'm gonna go back to the landscape plan, and I didn't do it, but because of the snow storage, and I actually thought of putting a second row of plantings right there, but I'd have to push them off the snow. The snow storage was there, so that's kind of why I didn't. But I could do something between units 7 and 6. We could do a second row of these arborvitaes in here, just so that headlights don't shine in that direction. But yeah, or we could do a little piece of fence, a couple sections. Thing with the fences, though, they'll push snow on it, it'll just break, and then we won't have the fence.
Just something maybe to join, I could see.
We could do a second row behind it, so we have space. I could leave space from the parking to the row of shrubs so we could still pile some snow, and I could do a second row of arborvitaes right there, build it up. I think, that would give them a second row of screening as well, so the lights wouldn't push through.
Yeah.
Yep, I think that would be helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
So it looks like, I think she just put her hand down. Janice, did you still want to talk? Mr. Chair, do you want to hear from Janice?
Yeah, that's fine if she has something to say.
Okay. Hey, Janice, you're back.
Thank you. Sorry. I wanted to say that I know where Victoria Circle's been a letter. I don't know if the applicant has ever read it because I've never spoken with him. And I am going to be greatly impacted by this whole project, being that I am right on the corner, and all cars that come in and go out, and traffic and food deliveries, you just name it, there's that. So I had outlined it in a previous letter, so I'm not going to take the time now. I can put it in a letter again about what I would like to have done here to help for the impact that it's going to have on my quality and privacy, my quality of life and privacy here. And I just also wanted to ask, when you said that the water usually improves when they do the looping of putting in for a project, what if it adversely affects? Then what happens?
Well, Mr. Chairman, may I? So for the water service that's currently existing for the houses on Dupy Street, which is, I think it's just really a 1-inch service. It's not. We're gonna be providing so much better water quality and volume that you're gonna see a significant difference. Because right now you just have a 1-inch. You have a 1-inch service. They're individual services to each of the houses. We're going to be putting an 8-inch water main in. So your water is going to, your pressure and everything that goes along with it is going to improve tremendously.
Okay, thank you. I think that's it for now. Thank you.
Okay. Suzanne, go ahead.
I think this one's for Rob. Rob, what are we doing with trash and recycling?
Oh, I would do private pickup at the end of the driveways. It just wouldn't be town pickup, but it would be in the same manner. This is going to have a homeowners association. It's condominium, so They would just build that in. They roll their
Okay.
trash barrels out once a week, put them at the end of the
Okay.
driveway, pick the trash up, bring it back in.
So just regular only private. We got it.
Just
thank
regular, only private.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't want dumpsters.
No.
No.
But I just was thinking, I haven't really seen the plan other than here, so it didn't look good.
Yeah,
So-
that's very common in, like,
Yeah.
the over 55 developments that are private, they just do
Yeah.
with houses. They just do private pickup at the end of the
Okay.
driveway.
Okay.
But by the way, Mr. Chairman, I did mail individually to each of you members at home, full-size set of plans.
Oh, good. Thank you.
We'll have a chance to review them
Good.
while you're eating dinner. Night off.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Petrosi, we don't get many nights off these days.
And my other question for Mr. Petrosi is, when did you meet with the neighbors, and how many of them?
I've been meeting primarily with the people on Victoria Circle. Julie Sullivan has arranged a couple of, we've had a Zoom meeting at one time, and we've met on the site when we were proposing the revision to the plan. And quite frankly, if they didn't express their favorable reaction to the plan, we wouldn't have submitted it. But they did express, as you obviously, it's an improvement from the previous plan, and we've addressed all, pretty much all of the engineering comments. And unfortunately, there is going to be a little bit more traffic than Dupie Street has right now, and I feel bad about the existing
Just a
homeowners.
little.
But those are the people that we've met with and have conversations with. And I also had a conversation with one of the neighbors on Dupie Street. And so we've had that. I mean, quite frankly, they would like to see the road continue to Summit Avenue, to be quite honest with you. So, and it wouldn't be a bad idea to have emergency access only to Summit Avenue as well, from a public safety standpoint, because right now Summit Avenue is a long dead-end street without turnaround. And if you want to apply the same regulations and you apply to other projects in town, that would be a good idea to have some sort of a connection there between the two, not necessarily for through traffic, but for emergency traffic, emergency situations. I just throw that out as an aside.
That's not going to happen tonight.
That's the Hail Mary.
Hey, it would cost me more money to do it. It's not, I'm not interested in doing it, but I'm just bringing it up as from a planning standpoint, that would be.
Is that going to be a Walpole Christmas present from you?
I think that would require a vote at town meeting, wouldn't it?
Big time. Yes.
No,
Okay.
not really.
So, what I'd like to do is we're going to review these. Peer review is going to take a look at it, and we should continue this. But I do recognize that we've made some significant progress on this development. So,
If I can just,
go ahead, Ashley.
Amy, it's okay. Katie and Chip Ivy actually have their hand raised. If
Okay.
you'd like to.
Yep. Yes, please.
Okay.
Oh, more people.
Hi, I just wanted to say, sorry, I know we're trying to wrap this up. I strongly object to a through street Summit Avenue to Dupie.
It's way beyond the zoning board's control or anything like that tonight. That was just people talking.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it would require a vote at town meeting.
Oh, yeah.
For that to happen.
Okay, thank you, Ashley. Thank you.
Chairman Lee,
Yes.
could I?
Yeah, go ahead, Ashley.
So I think that, I commend the applicant, Lou, on really, I think, being responsive to a lot of the comments from the peer reviewers, and I appreciate how quickly it happened. I think that what might make the most sense is I'd like to nail down the site plan and make sure that fire and peer reviewer and everyone's good with where we're at on that. And then I think it would be great to get a set of architectural drawings. You know, once we kind of get the site in place, a set of architectural drawings. I do want to take a closer look at the landscaping plan. I think there might be opportunities to kind of diversify some of the plant species there. And I think that might be a good, you know, feedback from our peer reviewer as well. I think a lighting plan would be great to include with this. I think Lou said he'd provide one of those, which is great. And then at our next meeting, hopefully we can hear from all the department heads, and if this plan meets all of those criteria, you know, if the board wanted, I could go ahead and start drafting, roughing out a decision.
So yes, I think that makes sense. What you've just outlined makes sense. So Lou, you heard what she's looking for as far as, you know, architecturals. We already talked about all these things.
Yeah.
And what we can do is when Ashley says roughing out a decision, well, the first step in a decision is documenting all the meetings that we've had and where we're at, referencing plans and things like that. And I think it's, you know, points to that we're moving towards the direction of a decision.
Sure. Well, we are meeting with the Water and Sewer Commissioners on the 8th to review the plan, and I'm sure they'll provide comments to the board. We have met with the DPW and the town engineer on multiple occasions already. And police and fire seem to be the remaining department that might want to, but they've already reviewed the hammerhead, so nothing has essentially changed there. But we will provide a lighting plan, and as I mentioned, we'll provide a prototype of an architectural for one unit, for one of the units. I'm not going to design 8 units at once right now.
And as far as the architecturals, I think we can live with that. What we want to do is see the concept of what these are, and you know, just be aware, if that's what you submit, you're not going to stray too far from it either way. So if you want to provide eight to us, I think that, you know, that's up to you. But you know, we're not going to get into the color of a building, but we're sure going to get into the dimensionals, because that's some of the relief that you're asking for.
Right. I think in the prior decisions that I've seen from the board, which I only have seen one, you've left it up to the building commissioner to make sure that we're in compliance with the spirit of the decision. So, well, let's try. Let me get to that point where we have a plan that is we think we would be building, and then, you know, we're happy coming back to the board and submitting an individual plan for each of the lots, or each of the houses, if that's what you want.
No.
Or we just want flexibility. No. Okay.
Look, we want to be able to draft a decision and have it attached to a set of plans so that when you submit to the building commissioner, he can figure out what is going on. I think everyone's interest to have that sorted. And people often forget that architecture is in the statute, and it is in 40B. So it's, I think, a very reasonable thing to ask for.
And the board has the right to, has the ability to waive it too. So let's work together on it. Let's see if we can work together.
So, yes, we will work to get something that's going to be good for the neighbors, the town, the future residents of this development. So, okay, for a continuation date, would, you know, this is December. It's going to be, everything's going to be blocked off the last part of the month. What are we looking at, Amy, for the first part of January?
So January 6th, you already have 2 40Bs, and 2 40As. The next one after January 6th, the regular meeting is January 20th.
What do we have on January 20th?
As of right now, nothing. I do believe that an in-law will be going on that.
Okay.
The week between the 11th and the 15th, depending on availability, might be a good week.
Okay. The 13th, do we want to shoot for the 13th?
Don't forget there's a holiday that week too, don't forget.
That's Monday. Yeah.
Is it Monday? Okay.
Inauguration day?
No.
That's gonna be a really good
Actually, it's the 18th. 18th is Martin Luther King Day.
Oh,
18th.
Okay.
So it's so.
Want to do the 13th?
I can do the 13th if that's what.
Anybody
people...
around for that? I can do it.
Okay.
I can make it the 13th.
Okay.
Hi, Bob.
Hello, I've been on my phone for a while. I just got in front of my computer, so I'm just tuning in.
Okay.
I've been tuned in, but I just am now audible.
There you go.
So, could I have a, Mr. Petrozzi, you okay with continuing until the 13th?
Sure.
Okay, that gives you time to get done what you need. It gives the board time to get done what we need to.
Oh, sorry, one more thing. I just want to make sure that we get an updated waivers list to match the revised plan, if there are any changes.
Okay.
Good call, Ashley.
Okay.
I always forget about waivers.
Well, that's what it's all about. This is
Yeah.
all
That's what it's all about.
Okay. So we've gone over a lot of things this evening and made some progress, more to be made. Particularly, I think some of the things that were brought up by neighbors and board members. And there's a lot. You know, we're at the final stages of tweaking things where we're down to fences to block headlights from 3 parking spots. So I think we're making progress. So could I have a motion to continue until January 13th, 2001? Yeah, 2021.
Seems like yesterday.
At 7 o'clock, Zoom, at the request of the applicant.
So moved.
Okay. Could I have a second on that?
Second by Jane.
Thank you, Jane. Okay. Any further discussion? George, any guidance for the zoning board?
I have nothing to say, nothing to add. Perfect.
Okay. I always check with town council before I do anything. So, roll call vote. Suzanne Murphy.
Murphy, aye.
Jane Coffey.
Aye.
Drew Delaney.
Aye.
Dave Anderson.
Aye.
And I'm John Lee. Aye. Okay, this will be continued until January 13th. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
great holiday.
Okay, you too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Oh, Amy?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. So,
Oh, we want?
pause recording and then end the hearing.
Oh.
Hold on.
Oh, we're gonna do minutes. I got one set
Oh,
of minutes.
sorry. I just,
Yep. Okay.
Let's let
I'll take
George
the-
go home.
Okay. Bye, George. Thank you for being here.
Good night, thank you.
Bye, George.
Good
Bye,
night.
George.
Bye.
Not that he's not already home, but.
I always think people are on their best behavior when town council is present. So, it was for Summer Street 20. I reviewed that and I didn't have any changes for that. I would like to vote on that. We also, Amy, I couldn't find the minutes for 11:9 and 11:18.
That's because you don't have them, so.
Okay, well, that explains why I couldn't find them. So,
Yeah.
did other people get a chance to review 11:5?
No.
Yes,
Yes, I.
You guys did?
Bob, you good with them?
yeah, I didn't have any comments on either one.
Okay. And Jane, you good with
Yes.
11:5? Okay.
Yes,
Okay. So, could I have a motion to approve the minutes of November 5th, 2020?
So moved.
Okay,
Second then.
Moved by Jane, second by
Switch us up.
Suzanne. Okay, roll call vote on the minutes of the 5th. Suzanne Murphy,
Murphy, aye.
Dave Anderson,
Aye.
Jane Coffey,
Aye.
Drew Delaney. Yep. Okay. John Lee, aye. So those are approved. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Suzanne. Second by
Aye,
Jane. Okay, roll call vote to adjourn. Dave Anderson,
Aye.
Drew Delaney,
Aye.
Jane Coffey,
Aye.
Suzanne Murphy,
Murphy, aye.
and I'm John Lee. Aye. Good night, everybody.
See you guys soon.
Good night.
Okay.
See ya.
Okay.
Aye.